What's up, I'm Coach Colin, and these are 3 shooting myths that are probably killing your jump shot. All right, the first myth that is probably killing your jump shot is what we call balanced landing. It's basically the concept that you should land in the exact same spot that you jump from, right? So most coaches say, hey, you want to be balanced when you shoot. So that means you're going to start, jump, and then land in the exact same spot, right? We've all probably been to a basketball camp or clinic where they've taught you to do this. The problem is that's not how the best shooters actually shoot. And most of the time, especially in younger players, it can actually be detrimental to their jump shot. Let me tell you why. If I'm balanced and I'm landing in the same spot, I don't generate more upward momentum through my body and into the basketball. If we watch the best shooters on the planet, pretty much all of them, when they shoot, they will land slightly closer to the basket than where they took off. Now, the reason for this is they basically have a pendulum of their body where they start loaded forward and they finish loaded back. So as they're loading their body like this into their jump shot, they're getting their chest down, they're getting their hips into it. And then as they fire, that momentum, you basically, if you're getting good fire and good power from the front, you can't land in the same spot. Because what's gonna happen is if I start here and I fire up through, it's gonna wanna have my shoulders naturally relax back. So the key here is not to contain it or stifle it, because that's what a lot of coaches and a lot of players do, but instead just let the natural momentum happen. So when you land forward, you just wanna hop slightly and just let those shoulders relax back, because that's also gonna give you better arc on your jump shot as well. A good key to know if you're landing too far forward is if you're stumbling on your landing, right? So if I shoot and I gotta stumble out of it like this, that probably means I'm going too far. One relaxed step back is fine, but if you're stumbling, that's a good sign that you're going too far. A huge myth that has been killing players' jump shots for years, and it's even killed mine for a period of time when I was in high school, is squared feet. Now, I don't know why it's being continued to be taught, but for some reason it is, and you're probably doing it yourself. And it's basically the concept of getting ready to shoot towards the basket and being squared up, meaning that my feet are at the same, kind of distance apart, and my shoulders and chest are squared to the hoop, and I'm shooting like this. The problem with that is body biomechanically, we as humans don't really bend that way. And so it's fine to be on balance like that at the start, but as soon as I raise my arm up, basically all this shoulder muscle tension right here at the top of my shoulder is going to force it, so something bad's gonna happen when the ball reaches right about here. Most of the time, it's like one of a few things. Number one, it might be a shot line where the player brings it up off the opposite side of their body so they can relieve that tension. That's not good because we want everything to be in alignment. The next thing is a low release that comes from it sometimes, because as you bring the ball up and you feel all the shoulder tension right here, it makes it so you can't finish high, and so instead the ball comes out. Flat arc, mathematically a worse opportunity to make the basket, right? The other thing, and this is the one that plagues a ton of young players, is it forces the chicken wing. This is where most of the chicken wing shots come from, meaning as they're getting ready to shoot, this tension's gotta go somewhere, and most of the time that comes with an elbow moving out this direction, so the ball comes off at a bad angle, and it's tough to do. So a lot of times, just tilting your feet slightly, just a little bit, can negate all of those problems. Sometimes it negates the shot line, it can negate the low angle, it can negate the chicken wing. Sometimes shooters have multiple of those things going on at once just because of the square feet. I've worked with so many players where this one trick alone can instantly revolutionize their jump shot, and it could be for you too. So just think about, instead of being, feet spread apart directly towards the hoop, shift your stance just slightly so that you're shooting hips closer to the basket, and that will allow everything to fall under alignment and be nice and smooth on your release. So another myth you hear all the time in shooting is you need to have a gap in your palm, right? So there's a ton of videos out there of even some of the best shooters in the world talking about you've got to have this gap between your palm and the basketball when you shoot, right? There's a few problems with this. Number one, most of the instructors who are teaching this sort of stuff are older, fully grown adults, and so most of the time they have bigger hands, so that's more of an option, right? For most kids, if you've got a small hand and you've got a big basketball, it's gonna be very difficult to get that gap and have any sort of control. The other thing you'll notice is most players don't have as big of a gap as you think they would for how important they always talk about this being. Even guys like Damian Lillard, he basically has the ball fully in his palm as he's going up. Now here's the thing, you'll get a lot of coaches that will talk about the palm gap, how important it is. They'll show it in photos and you'll be like, oh my gosh, Klay Thompson has a palm gap. I guess he's right. But the thing is, a lot of times these coaches cherry pick the point at which they're finding the footage or which they're finding the photo. Meaning, somebody might start with the ball off on their palm completely right here, and as they go into their jump shot, as it starts to flex on their wrist to release, They might, to start, get a gap because obviously there has to be a gap for the ball to come out of your hand. And then that's the point at which a coach will snag a picture or snag the footage to show, hey, check it out. They do shoot with a palm gap. So when you're thinking about shooting, you've always got to, number one, really analyze the source. And number two, think about how it's all connected together. So I'm not saying a palm gap is terrible. If you have one, you don't have to get rid of it, but it's not near as important as a lot of people make it out to be. So if a coach is telling you like, hey, palm gap's one of the first things you got to focus on, you know that they probably don't know what they're talking about, because a lot of the elite level shooters have either a tiny gap or no gap at all. So don't worry about it. It's not that important. Focus on the other pieces of your mechanics. All right, if you want to shoot like a pro, you got to train like a pro. So click the top link in the description down below and get instant access to the Pro Shooting Pack brought to you by our guys at Pro Class. Now you can work out with some of the best shooters in the world, guys like Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, just to name a few, to ensure that you're getting your jumper on point. And also, if you're new to Shot Mechanics, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell notification, because we're bringing the best videos on the internet to help you get better that you're not going to want to miss. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castella, and until next time, splash on. Buckets! Aye!